takes a soldier who knows his orders to walk the walk I'm supposed to walk. And live like I'm not scared, give when it's not fair, live life for another, take time for a brother, fight for the weak ones, speak out for freedom, find faith in the battle, stand tall but above it all, fix my eyes on you, oh, 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 on you. The things of earth are dimming in the light of your glory and grace. I'll set the sights upon heaven, I'm fixing my eyes on you. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, oh. I'm fixing my eyes on you. Oh, 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 yeah.
God of love and justice, we gather together to worship you, to offer our thanks and praise, and to proclaim your goodness and mercy. Meet us here. Breathe your word into our souls. Engrave your covenant of love upon our hearts. Teach us faithfulness and compassion so that our lives may reflect your love and your justice to the world. Amen. Welcome to State Street Community Church.
Restore my soul, revive my heart, renew my life in every part. Reveal to me what sin remains, then lead me to the cross again. Restore my soul, revive my heart, renew my life in every part. Reveal to me what sin remains, then lead me to the cross again. At the cross, I'll find the way to live the life your hands have made. So find me there, Lord, help me to stay in true surrender with you, my Savior. Relight the fire that burns so strong, reminding me of what you have done. My one request is to be changed, so lead me to the cross again. At the cross, I'll find the way to live the life your hands have made. So find me there, Lord, and help me stay in true surrender with you, my Savior. So find me there, Lord, and help me stay in true surrender with you, my Savior. With you, my Savior.
God, we come in this space and we recognize your presence. We recognize your goodness. May we enter this space longing to know you more, longing to understand how you move in this world. May we find hope there. May we find grace there. May we find your incredible goodness there. We lift up your name and we do praise you. It is in that name we do pray. Amen.
He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions, eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us, how he loves us so. He is jealous for me, loves like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions, eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how he loves us so. Oh, how he loves us, how he loves us so. I see the stars. I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God, his Son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in, that on the cross, my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart? Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
You may be seated, and our middle school class is dismissed.
Hey, Chris, great job. Good morning. It's good to see you. So we have some fun to do real quick before I get started. And if you're new with us, glad that you're here. If you're streaming with us, we're glad that you're here in the internet space. But regardless, wherever you come from, however you got here, we are glad. We know that you chose this morning to be here with us, and maybe you had to fight a hard kid to get here, or maybe you had to, you're not feeling real well, or whatever it is. You're here, and we're grateful for that. Now, we do this thing where if you bring your own mug in, you fill out a ticket. If you fill out a ticket, you get a chance to win a gift card to the Starbucks. Now, here's the thing. Our coffee's better than the Starbucks. but we don't have gift cards. So we had to give you something, and we wanted to make it for coffee. But when you bring your own mug and fill it up, you save us money by, filling, a 10-cent cup. But more importantly, you save the environment. And that's great, and there's not as much waste. So those of you that bring your mug, thank you so much. Those of you that don't, silently judging you. Just kidding. I don't bring my mug. I just leave them all here. So let's pick a winner. Now, I did this last service, and most of the people that won are in this service, and you can't win if you're not here. So Timothy Baylor Bauer, you won. The Johnsons won. Brooke, you won. I'll tell you who won, actually. I have them right here. Wally Schultz won. Cheryl Dolson won. Wally Schultz won again. Alan Johnston won. Renee Cooper won. Tim Bauer won. Sherry Johnston won. So you guys came to the wrong service. But maybe you'll win right now. All right. Amy, you want to pick a ticket? Huh? You won twice, but you weren't here. No, you didn't, because you weren't here the first service. But guess who did win? My friend Brooke. Way to go, Brooke. Come get your gift card. Woohoo! What kind of gift card, or what kind of mug did you bring here? Oh, Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas. Is everyone ready for Christmas season? Has anybody watched a Christmas movie yet this season? Yes. Good for you. Love the holidays. So also, a couple things. It is October, and things get busy for us. Well, things are always busy. Let's just be honest. But we have lots of stuff coming up, and obviously my favorite day of the year is coming up in November, Thanksgiving Eve. We do our big Thanksgiving meal here, where we feed the community, and we have, 500 people come. We just open the doors up, and we encourage the Pack Center people to come. Whoever wants to come gets to come, rich or poor or whatever. We just want to feed everyone. And so we do that the night before Thanksgiving. We'll let you know how you can help with that a little bit later. But also, our big day of generosity is coming up. It's Giving Tuesday. And Giving Tuesday is not for the church. It's for the Pack Center. And we raise money for the Pack Center to help for the annual budget. Now, to kind of give you maybe a view from above of how we do budgets here. So the church is our primary kind of nonprofit, right? This is the main, you might want to say, organization of the group. All the others are under the same nonprofit ID. However, the church and the preschool and the Pack Center and the gardens are all under different budgets, okay? So part of my job is to raise money from inside the church, but also from the community to help for our budget for the Pack Center. It takes about, let's say, around $200,000 a year to run the Pack Center. And so we ask corporations, we ask individuals, we get fundraisers, all kinds of things. We do one big day of generosity a year, though, so that we don't, we actually like to keep LaPorte fed well and loved well and not fundraised well. So we prefer to do one huge day of generosity a year. That's Giving Tuesday. It's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Now, in years past, we've grown Giving Tuesday. I think last year we had over $50,000 given in one day to the Pack Center. All money goes towards the Pack Center, not to the church again. We hope to do 50 to 75 this year. Now, that's a huge goal. It's almost unprecedented in a day of generosity. I don't know if we'll get it. I'm believing it will, but it's going to take your help. We need, a couple things from you. We need you to donate. So be thinking about how you can participate there. We also need your network. So if you know somebody that would be interested, share this with them. Let them know that all money given goes towards helping feed the hungry. It does not go towards salaries. It goes towards the Pack Center. But also, if you know, like, let's say, a business or a school or a community organization that might be interested in helping, on Giving Tuesday, donate or raise funds, let me know. I would love to come talk to them. I love to talk to schools. I love to talk to whoever will listen to me. Literally, not just about Giving Tuesday. I love to talk to anybody that will listen to me. So if you know of somebody, if you have a small group or if you have a neighborhood or whatever, you just want me to come and talk to some neighbors, I would love to do that. Again, it's a big day for us, and we need everyone to engage in this day so that we can continue to grow the PAC Center and to keep the hungry fed. I don't know if you know this, but we are the largest food provider in LaPorte, and so we feed over 1,100 people a month in our food pantry and hundreds a month in our community meals. Lots of free clothes given away, and we've, of course, got the gardens. And we're the only food pantry in the community that actually is trying to not only feed the hungry, but also feed them well. We provide more healthy eating. It's a lot more expensive to do that, but we understand that we got to move away from the calorie game. Most food pantries are just calorie counters, and it's great. It does. Let us be honest. The most important thing we can do is give calories to people who are hungry, right? But then the next most important thing to do is to give them the right calories. And so that's what we try to do. That's the game we're in right now, is to try to provide the better foods, more food and better food. So not that every food we give is good, but we try to give access to better foods. And so it costs a lot of money to do it, but we believe it's the right thing to do. So if you want to donate, if you want to be a part of this, put this on your calendar. You'll be hearing lots about it. We definitely try to do a lot of advertising and marketing for this. So just to put it on your calendar, December 3rd. We're also raising funds to do matching donations. So if you want to be a part of a matching donation, let us know as well. All right. Today, we are in a series called Grateful, the Transformative Power of Thanks. Talking about gratitude. Now, how many of you probably already today have said the word thanks maybe a couple times, right? Somebody opened the door, thanks. Somebody, brought you coffee, thank you. Somebody, was kind to you in some kind of thanks. We say the word thanks often. Thank you, thank you. And oftentimes, as a response to something done for you or to you, thank you. It can almost be just a natural response. Do you feel gratitude? I don't know. It's just the kind thing to do to respond to something kind to you is to say thank you. Well, we're going to be talking about gratitude, and hopefully we want to be kind. We want to still say thank you. I'm not telling you don't say thank you. But we want to rework a little bit of that and hopefully embody a worldview of gratitude, of being grateful for our existence, being grateful for our neighbor's existence, being grateful that you're not alone. Not only is God with you, but the community of Christ is with you. Now, we here at State Street say we are a just and generous expression of the Christian faith. We believe that Jesus is working and active in the community. We believe we have lots of reasons to be grateful. But we also believe that we live with a tension between responding to God's goodness and fighting all the things that are just wrong. Finding all the things in our lives that we have to maybe feel envious or to feel maybe prideful or to feel just depressed about. I'm reminded of a story when I was younger. I was blessed enough. So I went to a small Christian college called Bethel College over in Mishawaka. It's where I met my best friends and my wife, and very small school. But one of the things that they do that's kind of cool there is they do a lot of semester abroads. And it's kind of fun because the way they do semester abroads are you can go to a different country. So I think they do Australia, Israel, China, maybe Jamaica, I forget a couple other ones, for the same cost as it is to stay on campus, right? So the same cost to go abroad is the same cost to stay stateside. So you kind of don't have reasons to not go, other than you might not want to go to another country. Well, I did. I wanted to go somewhere else. Obviously, going to Bethel College is only 45 minutes away from home, so I kind of wanted to get a little bit further away from home. And so I went to China, and I went with some friends. I went from a friend here who at the point didn't live there, but as you guys know, Colleen Hubert, she went as well. And we had a great time. Now, it was my first time kind of not going to another country, but being really immersed into another country. I didn't know any Chinese. We got on a plane from Chicago to Beijing. It took about 16 hours, straight flight. And we got there. Now, we had other Americans there, but the way the exchange student or the exchange program works in China is they allow American students in. They encourage it. They enjoy having foreign students there, but they make sure that they're foreign students, whether you're from Japan, America, Germany, England. You go into your own dorms, though, right? They don't intermingle you with Chinese students. You stay in your own dorms. And so, in your own building, quite frankly. And so we were in a dorm with lots of other kind of different nationalities, which is a lot of fun. And I remember getting there, not long after, we didn't know any language. We were just learning a couple words, right? They tell you, hey, this is how you say hello. This is how you say thank you. This is how you ask a question. Most importantly, this is how you say, I don't know. Learn that. Because somebody's going to talk to you, and you just say, I don't know, okay? And so you learn these kind of phrases, and then over the next 3.5 months, we're going to teach you how to speak. And we were in language classes for 4 hours a day for 3.5 months. Now, by the end, I could kind of speak, right? Chinese. Now, I can't at all anymore, but I could then just barely. And so my friends that were there, we had a dear friend named Brandon. We called him Butter. And Brandon was there, and Brandon's kind of this charismatic, fun. You might suspect him to be high, but he's not. You know that kind of guy? Like, they're not high, but they very well could be. And that was Brandon. So Brandon was very kind, very nice. He still is, but we were there, and he's just going around telling everyone hi, which is like a classic American thing, right? We are almost painfully nice. I say hi to everyone. If you make eye contact with me, I'm going to say hi to you because I don't know what else to do. Kroger, I say hi to 1,000 people, and Emma's like, do you know these people? No, I don't. They looked at me, I said hi. Right? I do. I just say hi. Now, many of you might not. I do. I just say hi. Hi. And so I was doing that. Or my friend Brandon was doing that in China, saying hi to everyone. And the Chinese, again, not in a culture where really you don't really do that. Now, America is one of the only cultures that you're almost too painfully polite. And so Brandon's just saying hi, hi, hi. And we go through the day, and finally our interpreter, our Chinese interpreter, pulls us aside and says, hey, Brendan, it just doesn't look good when you're going around the market in the neighborhoods. All you're doing is just telling everyone thank you. It just looks like you're an American telling everyone thank you, thank you. You're not saying hi, you're saying thank you. And then we're playing through the day, and we're looking back at all the times where he goes through the market, he's like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As if the Americans are here. Thank you. Oh, I just think of that scene and laughing so hard at him because he didn't realize what he was saying, right? He didn't realize that the things he was saying did not match up with what he was actually doing. There's a difference between saying thank you as a cultural norm and actually feeling gratitude. You can say one thing and not feel the other. There can be a disconnect between what you say and what's actually happening. So let's talk about some statistics. I know you love statistics like I do. So 78% of Americans say they felt a strong sense of gratitude in at least once a week. Right? 78% of Americans. How many people here say at least once a week you feel a sense of gratitude, a strong sense of gratitude? Notice, what was interesting about that is a couple hands went up, and then everyone, I noticed you looking around, you're like, Why? You don't want to be one of the 22% that's like, I don't, right? Now, what's interesting about that stat is there's another stat that happened in that the Public Research Institute, Religion Research Institute rather, did in 2016. And I was reading a fascinating article about these two things because sociologists and psychologists were asking, okay, how do these like two things in gratitude studies, how do these align? How do we make sense of this? So in public research, our Public Religion Research Institute found that in 2016, before the presidential election, Americans were more anxious, less optimistic, and more distrustful than ever. If they would be asked, they would say, I feel more anxious, I feel less optimistic, and I feel more distrustful than ever. Americans also said they feel more angry, fearful, divisive, and intolerant. Right? That they feel that exists. Not that they're intolerant, but they feel like there is more intolerance. Right? So, if that's true, and a majority of Americans say they feel anxious, less optimistic, and more distrustful, how does 80% of us also say we feel a strong sense of gratitude? Seems to be different. And so I was reading this article about it. And there's a group of sociologists that were talking about this phrase, and I'm sure those of you that are in psychology and sociology know this phrase, because they were saying, are these the same people? They went and said, let's talk about social desirability bias. Right? So one of them was this anonymous survey about what you feel and what you think. The other one, right, was about who you want to be. Social desirability bias is answering a question in a way that makes someone look good to themselves or others. Did you notice? When I asked how many people feel a sense of gratitude, slowly more hands started going up. More and more, and then everyone's like, yeah, no, we all do. And there's two reasons why that might happen. Well, maybe three. First, you're just slow. You were slow to raise your hand. That could be. But mostly, the two that are likely to happen is you felt pressure. You didn't want to be the only one not. And then also, maybe most likely, you want to be the person that once a week feels a deep sense of gratitude. Right? That's social desirability bias. You feel like you ought to be the person that feels grateful at least once a week. So when you're asked, are you grateful once a week? You say yes. Now when you feel a sense of deep, profound gratitude, when you actually look through your life and you say, well, I don't know when that happened, but I'm sure I was. Social desirability bias. I want to be the person that feels a deep sense of gratitude. I want to be the person that actually does the things I say I do. I want to be that person. I'm not that person, but I want to be that person. See, there is often this gap between what we believe and what we practice. In faith, right, the gap here, if it's known, is called hypocrisy, right? The thing that you say is true. It does not align with the thing that you actually practice. But this is true in lots of things we do, right? There's this gap between what we say, what we believe, and what we practice. Just like, do you feel a profound sense of gratitude at least once a week? Yeah, no, we totally do. Okay, take me through your week and tell me where that happened. I don't know. There's a gap. There's a chasm there. I was reminded of it. My wife is in nursing school. She was doing a medical intake on me. And I'm a mess, right? I mean, just lots of things. And she was asking, now I've got a disease, autoimmune disease called Graves' disease, which is a thyroid autoimmune disease that messes with my endocrine system. Now, usually when you have a Graves' disease, those of you that might have Graves' disease, or the doctor will ask you, hey, typically when you're on this, because this is a hormonal thing, we ask if you're depressed or anxious because that typically aligns or coincides with this. So are you anxious? And I said yes. And they said, okay, we're going to put you on an anti-anxiety pill just to help with that, plus your thyroid medicine, all these kind of things, right? So that's been my regimen for 6 years. Now, the medical intake form that my wife was doing is, okay, you're okay, do you have anxiety? Yes. How do you know? I'm anxious. Right? I didn't know how to answer it. How do you know you're anxious? I don't know. I'm anxious. But how do you know? I don't know. It was interesting because it was like, I don't know. I'm just anxious. How do you know? I am. No, you have to know what things happen that signify that you have anxiety. I don't know. My anxiety. There's always interesting questions when you do medical exam forms, right? Do you eat healthy? Yeah. How do we define that? Right? There's a chasm. There's a divide between what I believe to be healthy and how I practice. I have had a salad before, if that's what you're asking. I've eaten lettuce at least once. Are you a healthy eater? Yeah, ish. Right? Is that on there? Yeah, ish. Can we check that box? Do you feel healthy? Now, I was telling my wife, usually when I get asked these questions by my doctor, I don't want to get into it, right? I don't want to get into the thing. So I just say yes. Right? Have you felt well? Yeah. Have you really? No. But I just kind of want to speed this up. Do you feel anxious? No. Do you? Yeah. How do you know? That's why I don't want to talk about it. Do you eat healthy? Yeah. How do you know? Is there a gap between something that you believe to be true and what you practice? This often happens, right? When Americans are asked how much they donate a year. Did you know that what we say we donate is always higher than what we actually donate? Why is that? Well, it could be we're trying to impress, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's a desirability bias. We want to be people that can donate. We want to be people that do donate. We believe it's good to donate. We're just not there yet. What we believe to be true does not align with our practices. Right? What we believe to be true, what we want to be true, does not align with how we practice our life. So we're talking about gratitude, but we don't want to just talk about this feeling of gratitude. We want to, over the next 6 weeks, talk about practices of gratitude. How can the things that we say to be true align with how we practice our faith, how we practice our life? If I asked you right now, where is God? Where is God right now? You would say in heaven, or maybe in, everywhere. Some of you would be like, Jesus, because that's what you say to any question I ask. Where is God right now, right? Now, this is a fundamental question of Christian theology. Where is God? Now, we can ask this in two ways. Where is God right now? Or we could say, where is God right now? There's a question of crying out in trouble. The psalmists cry, where are you, God? And then there's also a question of theology. So, like physically, literally, where is God right now? Where is God? That's a fundamental question. Where is God? And before we get to gratitude, we have to answer this question. Why? Because the way we answer this question and how we answer this question will inform how we believe God's character is known. Those two actually coincide. This question fuels your answer to what is God like? Based on where is God right now, you can then define what is God like. Some of us believe God's in heaven like an old man with a beard on a throne looking down on the world, right? Gandalf-like. You shall not pass. You're just like his little Frodo or Gollum, maybe depending on how the week you had. But and God's looking down on the world. Typically, in this view of God, God's not happy. God's looking down in judgment. God's looking down maybe in disappointment. Right? God's looking down and saying, oh, why did you do that? I'm so disappointed in you. Because this view of God is based on a view of essentially appeasing God, doing the right thing so that you make God happy. Now, our faith is a little different. Now, many of us live our faith like that, but the faith that Jesus invites us into is this faith that already declares you're loved by God. Let's get that all out of the question. It's not about God looking down on you and saying, oh, can't believe you said that. It's about saying, God's invited us into this virtuous life of love and justice, of kindness and mercy, of forgiveness and self-control. He invites us into this and invites you into the better way of life. So where is God right now? Is God in the heavens and the clouds looking down? I don't think so. This is a fundamental question. Fundamental question. And what we say is true about this needs to align with how we practice this truth. Do we say the right things about this? Does what we say make sense? I'm learning that, so my family is an axiom family. We have lots of sayings. And I'm learning as I get to speak to other groups of people, I get to speak a lot, that our sayings don't make any sense outside of our family. They make a lot of sense in our family, though, right? But I'm learning that somebody in our family made these things up. They're not real axioms. So now, some of you may have heard them, but they're not big things. I was speaking to the library this week. Love our library. Love our library. And I was honored to get asked to speak for a training thing that they did this week. And so I'm speaking to them, and I'm talking, and I use an axiom that my grandfather used to say, my dad has said, I have said, and it's, hey, we don't have to eat the elephant all at one time, just take one bite of it. Now, how many of you say that? Anybody? Okay, yeah. No, here's the thing. Learned, nobody says that, just us. Just us. And people said, why are you eating an elephant? And as soon as that was said, I thought, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, does it? It makes all the sense in the world to me. An elephant's a big animal. You don't have to eat it all, just one bite at a time. Well, why wouldn't you just say like a cow or something? I don't know. And I'm going through and thinking about the things that I just say. And like, as they're being questioned and saying, that makes no sense, I'm going, you might be right. My grandfather used to say, again, a lot of these come from my grandpa, who I love dearly, but he would say, hey, Nate, when people tell you, Noah didn't build the ark in a day, so don't be stressed. You tell them, because we weren't on the job. And I used to say that until I realized, that's super prideful. That's not nice at all. And I'm learning these things that I say to be true, and the axioms that I share, and I'm reprocessing them through a lens of like, wait a second, that's a terrible practice. That just like encourages you to not take a break. That's not a good axiom. So what about the things we say about God? Do the things that we say to be true align with our practices of God? Are they helping us to become more like Jesus? Where is God? What do we say about that? Now, oftentimes our answer to that is God is otherly, right? God is in other places. He's in heaven. He's somewhere else. He's in his kingdom. He is doing something, but he's not here. Now, you might say, well, in some essence or in some way, God is here, but not really. God is otherly, looking down in. God is otherly looking in, instead of God being in with us. Oftentimes, when we think of God, we we pray to this God that's not here. We're thinking about a God somewhere else. Where is God? Where is God? So in the Roman social structure of society, not all that different than ours really, but we've tried to flip this pyramid, but in Roman, Egyptian, ancient social structure, there was a hierarchy, right? And the higher you got up, the closer you were to God. The Caesar was ultimately essentially the closest to God out of anybody. There was the emperor. As you went down, you were closer to God. How did they know? You had more stuff. You had more influence. You were respected. And so God would be with those who are respected. God would be with those who have stuff. God would be with those who have political authority. God would be with those. God's not going to be with the slaves or the laborers at the bottom. I mean, if that's where God is, God's a pretty weak God, right? Because why would he keep them down there? Why wouldn't God make his people be powerful at the top? Roman social structure said those who are in power are closest to God. Those who have authority are closest to God. Those who have influence are closest to God. Now, unfortunately, we often feel the same way. Sometimes we think of our pastors being closer to God than others. I know this. I think of Pastor Becky a lot closer to God than me, but that's just truth. But we think of others as close. Well, Nate, you don't understand. It's if you knew me, then you would know God listens to your prayers. God doesn't listen to mine. What? Huh? Well, I mean, obviously, this bishop here, I mean, that guy's closer to God than us, does all the right things. He's dedicated his life to it. Really? Now, even in Roman times, this social structure influenced their theology. It influenced their theology and influenced their culture. And so what happens then is in the beginning, God creates, right? And he forms for himself a people, and he names that people Israel, those who wrestle with God. So you and I are a part of a lineage of people that wrestle with God. We wrestle with the idea of God. We wrestle with what it means to be God's people. We are a people that are on this journey to figuring out what is love and justice, these kind of things. And so as God's forming for himself a people, the people struggle with what to do. What they believe to be true does not align with their practices. And so they go into essentially slavery, but exile, you might say, and they're dispersed. And in the end of your Old Testament, the prophetic literature, the prophets, we have the prophets of God calling out to people, you got it wrong. You thought God was like this. I'm telling you, that's not how God is like. You got it wrong. You thought loving your neighbor was like this. You got it wrong. You thought that this sin was like this. I'm telling you, it's more like this. And there's this theological, cultural, communal correction in the Old Testament prophets based on 1,000 or 1,500 years of wrestling with God. And you would think that the prophets would call people, God's people back and they'd get it, but they didn't. So what's God's next step? He puts his boots on, puts his clothes on, he puts flesh on. And that's what we claim, that's what we proclaim Jesus is, God with flesh on. And God comes to us and shows us what life is. So when you ask, what is God like? The easiest answer is Jesus. That's where you get to say Jesus. What is God like? God is like Jesus. How does God love? Like Jesus. How does God forgive? Like Jesus. But Jesus comes with flesh on. But when Jesus comes, he comes not to the powerful. God doesn't come to those with influence. He doesn't come with those to authority. He comes to someone on the bottom rung of influence. God comes to those on the bottom. And in that coming, in that message of hope, the angel gives to Jesus' mother, Mary, this, hey, I want you to call him a certain thing. Now, names in the ancient world typically mean something more than they do to us. Some of you are very serious about the names you give your kids. You want to reflect an event, or you want to reflect a person. My kids, their first names are based on the names we liked. Nothing really serious. The middle names are named after people like of an honor, right? My daughter's named after my mother. My oldest son, Finn, is named after, his middle name is Jay. He's named after my uncle. My youngest son, Harrison, his middle name is Daniel, the same middle name that I have. And so the middle names meant something to us, even when the first names didn't. Some of you have probably done the same. And names meant something. So when the angel of the Lord comes to Mary, I want you to give this name to Jesus. It means something. And mind you, think of Mary is living in a social structural world very much like this. Those who are at the top are closest to God. Those who are at the bottom are furthest from God. And God comes to someone at the bottom and gives him this message. All this took place to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Look, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him what? Emmanuel, which means God is with us. So, when I ask the question, where is God? The answer is quite simple. God is with us. Where are you, God? With you. For you. Working in you and through you. Where is God? God is with us. God is part of this experience of life. God is part of the aches and the pains of life. God is part of the laughter in life. God is part of the tragedies and the comedies. God is part of creating music. God is part of working a job and feeling sore at the end of the day. God is involved and with you when you're feuding with your spouse, or when things aren't going well. God is with you. God is part of our human experience. God is not otherly. God is not outside of it. God is with us. And imagine Mary, who's at the bottom rung of society, who's at the bottom rung of influence, hearing a message that I want you to name your son Emmanuel. God is with us. One of the most fundamental truths in all of Christianity is Emmanuel. God is with us. Sometimes the things we proclaim to be true don't align with that. Sometimes our theology almost communicates God is against us. But that's not Jesus. Jesus is given the name God is with us to combat the idea that those on the top have more influence and more power and more connection to God. No. God is with even those at the bottom. God is here. So we're going to talk about gratitude over the next 6 weeks, but the most foundational experience, or the most foundational truth in gratitude you have to understand is that God is with you every day. Every day. God is here now. In the world, with the world, through the world. God was with me as I struggled in China. God is with you as you go to work or as you go home. God is with your friends and your neighbors. God is with your enemies. God is here in the world, with the world, through the world. Gratitude starts with that truth, that God is with us. God is with us. He is the pulsating, ever-creating presence of love throughout all of creation that holds it all together by love. And so we respond with gratitude. God is not forsaken. He is not abandoned. He is not otherly. He is with us. When somebody tries to tell you that's not true, let them know, Emmanuel, God is with me. So, when you ask the question, where is God right now? It's a simple answer. God is with us. God is with us. If you're new here, I want you to know God is with you. If you're struggling with something today and you don't know what to do, don't know what to believe, don't know how to practice, what you say to be true does not align with what you practice, I want you to know, even in the struggle, God is with you. If you're doubting, if you're having a hard time knowing what to believe, God is with you. If you're celebrating new life, if you're celebrating something to be just overwhelmingly joyful with, God is with you. If you're worried about tomorrow already, about what happens tomorrow, what you do tomorrow, how you respond tomorrow, God is with you. If you don't know what to do with Jesus, if you don't know, start at that place. The first name that Jesus gets is Emmanuel. God is with you. Wrestle with that truth. Wrestle with that little bit of theology. Let all of the truths stem from there. We're going to work into a time of Eucharist where we give thanks for the good and gracious gift that is Jesus. You know what? Not all of us live perfectly. All of us live with things and actions that we're not proud of, and we bring them here. We bring them to the table of Jesus, and we know that in spite of the things we've done and what we said, that Jesus invites us to the table. But we want to come with open hearts and minds. We don't come to the table lightly. We come to it with an open heart to be changed and transformed by the love of Jesus. And so we ask for forgiveness and repent, literally just reconnect to God. Because maybe this week we chose the path of hate over love. Maybe this week our actions did not align with the things we say to be true. We proclaim a message of love and justice, but we didn't live it. We proclaim that mercy triumphs over judgment. We didn't live it, though. We ask for forgiveness, and we find it with open arms in Jesus. He says, never forget, even in your struggles, even in your doubts, even in your pain, I'm with you. As we go into this meal, will you pray the Lord's Prayer with me? Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. The tables of Christ are open.
Crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. In the crushing, in breaking new wine in the soil I now surrender. You are breaking new ground. You are breaking new ground. So make me your vessel. Make me an offering. Make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old flames to carry your new fire today. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom, and the kingdom is here. I lay down my old flames to carry your new fire today. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me.
Amen. What a great song. Will you please stand before we dismiss? Hey, a couple quick things. We got a couple things this week you might want to know about. So on Friday night is discussion over dinner. If you haven't come yet, I hope you do. This month we're very excited to have and very honored to have, quite frankly, State Rep Pat Boy and State Senator Karen Talion. Now you might say, "Oh, I have nothing to ask." It's okay, just come. It's a lot of fun. We play a game, we laugh, but most importantly, you get to know your neighbors here. And if you are kind of intimidated to come by yourself, or it's okay, invite friends. You are welcome to bring people. It's open to the public. It's not necessarily like a church thing, right? It's a community conversation. We just feel honored to have it. So if you've not been yet, I hope you come. It's a lot of fun. We only ask that you reserve your spot beforehand, not because it costs anything, but it helps us know how much food to prepare. And I forget, what do we have in this? We're having lasagna. It's free. And it's great because Joel Crane and Jason Clemens cook, and it's always wonderful. So you can sign up through your app. You can go to our Facebook page and look at the events. You can sign up through there, or just shoot Pastor Becky or I a message, or talk to us afterwards. You want to come, we'll get you signed up and everything. Invite your friends. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. So 6 to 8 on Friday. Also on Saturday, we are going to have a workshop here called More Than Money Matters, talking about a smart budget. Now, this is done by Mike Sutton, a pastor here in the community, who's also a Thrivent representative. It costs nothing. You're not getting sold anything. What this is for is we know that, especially a lot of younger couples or younger people, you've got student debt, you've got all these kind of things. Maybe you're looking towards retirement now, some of you older couples or older people, and you just need a kind of a look at your own budget. You need to figure out what you're spending, how you're spending it, all these kind of things. Well, we're doing a seminar, a workshop that's 3 hours long to kind of just do that. Now, you might know somebody else that's not here that doesn't come to State Street and it would benefit them. They are invited. It's free. We just don't want to be the church that always asks for money that doesn't help people also figure out how to use money, how to get out of debt, these kind of things. So it's 3 hours on Saturday from 9 to noon. We provide lunch. It's free. If you would be helped by this, please sign up. You can sign up through your app. You can sign up online through the event, or just let, again, Pastor Becky or I know you want to come. You're welcome to invite somebody if you want to, a friend. You don't have to be a couple or anything. Whoever wants to come can come, and we'd be happy to have you. We will not be passing a plate for offering, though we do believe in honoring God with our finances. If you want to donate to this church, if you want to be a part of this community, you're welcome to do so in a couple different ways. Out in the foyer, there's giving boxes. You can also go online to statestreet.tv and set up an online giving account. It's safe, it's simple, it's secure. Or download our app and do it as well. And you can set up your own online giving. You can give as little or as often as you want, and you're welcome to do that there. And every gift, every donation matters a great deal to us. So thank you so much for those of you who are supporting the ministry and the work here at State Street. Also, if you'd like to be a part of this community, if you'd like to serve, if you'd like to get to know someone, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about it. If you're new or if you've been here for a while and you just want to get plugged in, submit your Connect card through the app or just come and talk to Pastor Becky or I, and we'd love to get coffee with you or just kind of talk about your journey and how to get more plugged in here. So, hey, this week and as you go out of here, know this. God is with you. God is not otherly. God is not somewhere else. God is with you in the struggles, in the triumphs, in the pain. God has not left you. He's not abandoned you. He is with you. So go out in the love of the Father, in the peace of his Son, Jesus Christ, in the movement of the Holy Spirit. Peace be with you. We'll see you again next weekend. Bye-bye.
Winter has come back